Hello, I'm Ben Swartley. I'm a high schooler from southeastern Pennsylvania, and I decided to make the journey across here and attend One Summit.
In Seattle, so that's quite the journey. So tell us a little bit about how you got here.
Yeah, so I've been a long time nerd, and in that way, I stumbled upon the Linux Foundation RSS feed, which was featuring One Summit, and I happened to know that my family has some connections out here who my mother was looking to go see, and it just worked out that I could come to this conference.
That's fantastic. That's excellent. We're glad to have you here. So tell us a little bit about I know you've been involved with open source for a while, so what kind of projects have you been involved with? What have you been looking at? What are you currently doing? And give us a little bit of a sense of that.
Yeah, so I've gone through a couple different phases. I first started out as an open source contributor in my freshman year of high school. I'm a junior now, but I was taking the AP Computer Science Principles course, and one of the things you have to do for that is make a project. So I found the HaskellTorch project, which was a Haskell port of PyTorch, and decided to use that. And then after I met the community there and they were so welcoming, I started contributing and just doing what I could to help the project.
That's excellent. That's a great way to start. So let me ask you. You said you're in high school. So how old are you right now?
I'm 17.
17. So this is a really, really great and early start, especially in this community and what you're doing right now. So let me ask you, how do you see yourself evolving?
Yeah, I think as I've sort of bounced around between different projects, what I'm starting to get a better sense of is like what sort of problems I like to solve and what I'm actually passionate about. Like, I've always known that I've loved working with technology and like taking things apart, figuring out how they work, and just through experiences like this where I get exposure to what the actual industry part looks like, I think I've sort of narrowed down, like, I certainly haven't narrowed it down to like a specific field. I expect things to change and
as they do,
grow,
yes, absolutely,
as I move on. But just like I think I'm getting a better sense of what specifically in technology I like and those problems.
Right. And so, in terms of what you're doing now on a day-to-day, because you said you got involved with that one specific project. So what is it that you've been doing now in terms of open source and community and contribution? And it doesn't have to be detailed, just to understand what makes you passionate.
Yeah, so now the most recent project I've been contributing to is Gadget Bridge, which is a replacement for like proprietary wearable and IoT apps. So yeah, I've really started to value privacy, and like when I got a smartwatch and looked at sort of the terms of service there, I didn't really appreciate their lack of respect for like sort of our rights and our freedoms and a lot of what the Linux Foundation stands for.
People my age don't even read the terms of service, so I'm impressed that you're even reading the terms of service. That's excellent. That's absolutely excellent. And is there anything else that you think about that is an area where you want to go in terms of open source, or where, I don't know if you're the youngest member of the Linux Foundation or not, but definitely our future is going to rely on your shoulders at some point. So the question I have for you is, what are the things that you want to work on, or what would you like to see come into the foundation?
I'm still really uncertain of exactly where my journey is going to take me, but sort of the next thing that I'm looking at, and why I came here to One Summit in the first place, is I would really like to see the idea of like participation and like community-based technology expand more into the hardware and the networking space. So why I sort of decided and looked into coming to this conference was because I want to there are wireless community networks in Seattle and New York City. And the idea of those is that you, with developments in networking hardware, you can have a network can connect people without laying copper or fiber or having large cell towers without that overhead that meant we needed centralized ISPs to be able to connect us with one another on a large scale. And putting that power back in the hands of the community to reduce the digital divide and sort of bring those principles of open source and community contribution to the hardware and communication space, not just software.
Okay, so that's interesting. So let me ask you one last question then here, which is just to understand. So I know you're not sure where your journey is going to go, where it's going to end, or anything like that. Clearly, you're a contributor. Clearly, you're part of the community. Clearly, you're here. You're learning, right? So what is the one thing that you've taken away from this show so far?
One thing that I've taken away.
It could be three, but one is shorter. But
yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've kind of taken away from this is that the problems you see in one space, they're really, a lot of the times we try to solve the same problem in different domains. Like I had that period where I went through a lot of AI and ML stuff and really dove deep into that. And then you look at autonomous networks and you see those same principles expanded to a different area. And I was also talking with a friend of mine who came here to this conference with me, and he was saying that the problems he had back when he was working in telco, he was seeing there, you see those same problems again. And I think it's been really cool being in this space and sort of immersed in this culture to see that it's not, you're not completely left in the wilderness if you haven't been worked in a specific domain.
Yeah.
Like I came in here with very little background in telco at all, and once I sort of got through that initial barrier of like the jargon and how we talk about these issues, it's really cool to see that you can move from space to space and it's not such a big transition.
Oh, absolutely. Well, listen, Ben, thank you very much for coming by. Right? We appreciate you coming here and being part of the community. I mean, this has been excellent, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.